Today, we are doing a 5-year rebuild of Crawley Town with a twist. I am not managing Crawley Town. I am the manager of Man City. And I have to use Man City's incredible resources and their relatively deep youth squad to try and rebuild Crawley over 5 seasons. So this idea comes from a comment on a previous video from Spurs Forever 07, and they had talked about trying to help other managers in their save. So I thought it'd be interesting to do something similar as a rebuild. So we have a lot of resources at Man City, and Crawley are currently in Sky Bet League 1. And if we look at the Sky Bet League 1 season preview, they are currently supposed to finish in last. They're 201 odds away from winning the title, and they are projected to finish in last place. So I think they lend an interesting rebuild as the team that's supposed to finish last in League 1 with our resources and squad at City. Can we help Crawley out to potentially get into the Sky Bet Championship? And the ultimate goal of this save would be to get them promoted into the Prem. But this isn't going to be easy. Obviously, they're projected to finish in last, and Man City do not have an affiliation with Crawley. So we can't just give them players. And given this is a more updated database and a lot of transfers have already been made in Season 1, it's going to be difficult to try and give them those players. So overall, we're going to need to do a couple of things for Crawley here. First is we're going to need to give them money. Looking at the bottom here, their financial status is okay. We want to try to get that up as much as we can. How we're going to do that? I mean, we have extra money, and City are good. Like, I don't need to sign a whole lot of players to make sure I stay in the job at City. But I think what we do here is maybe just players. Do they have anyone who's listed? Like Joy Mukena here is listed, transfer listed. I think we just go after him. His price is 4.5k. I don't know how much I can pay for him without the City board withdrawing the transfer, but maybe I could put in like a 500k bid and that would be fine. And that would give 500k to Crawley in the transfer budget. That would be 5 times the transfer they spent currently. So that would allow them to bring in some new players. The other thing I'm going to do here is go into my development center and see if I can give them some players. We have Jacob Wright, for example, here. He's not very good, but I'm going to go through the coach report and I'm going to see who is a good Sky Bet League 1 player, a player who Crawley might want to sign and who would be interested in going into Crawley. And then I can go to transfer offered via transfer room. And what I can do once I'm here is go to targets, add clubs to propose to, and I can propose Crawley as a club. So I can click on Crawley here, and this makes sure that the proposal goes to Crawley. Then I can set the details, make it a loan offer, go 0, 0, 0, and 0. And we can see if we can use that as a potential method for improving this playing squad. But all of that is in theory. Of course, Crawley actually have to do something with the players that we might be able to give them. They have to want them. Our players have to want to go to them. It's not like an affiliate club where I can just send the player to them. They have to actually come in with an offer for them. And the other thing here too is we're going to be depending a lot on Mr. Scott Lindsay here. If we're going to be throwing away money at Crawley Town, he needs to make the right signings. And I'm going to be honest, I don't have a lot of faith in Mr. Scott Lindsay here. He's got good judging player ability potential, but I don't like the formation he's playing. He's playing a 5-3-2 DM wingback formation. If we go to their tactics screen, it's very defensive, which could be good to start off with when they need to stay up in the league. But if we want to get them promoted, I think they might need to be a little bit more attacking. So we're going to focus on definitely in the players that we send to Crawley, trying to send strikers in this first season, someone who's going to score goals for them, maybe helping them to improve maybe their center back areas. Or I think these are going to be 3 really important positions, but I think up top is going to be the most important. But anyways, that's the plan. I have no idea how this is going to go, but I'm the manager of Man City, but my goal for this save is to rebuild Crawley. I have no idea how this is going to go. I have no idea really what I'm doing. I'm just going to give them, right now, my plan is to give them money and offer them players. Hopefully, I'll think of some better stuff, but this is what we've got. I'm going to go through this preseason, season one, and I'll see what I came up with. All right, we are at the end of the transfer window for season one. Let me show you guys what we've gone up to from the Man City perspective. So the first thing that I tried to do in our schedule was include Crawley as a friendly. I figured that would help to improve their reputation a little bit, maybe, and also give them some money because there's a fee towards being able to play friendlies. Crawley said their schedule was too busy, so instead we played the Crawley under 21s. Hopefully that did give the club some money though. But other than that, I could only send one player from Crawley out on loan. So we gave them Divin Mubama, who, if we look at the scout report here, it says he's a good Sky Bet League One player. And for League One, I think he is an excellent forward. 19 years old, excellent pace, 15 pace that's going to be rapid for League One. Good jumping reach, so he's got some decent physicals, good heading, good finishing, okay off the ball and composure. I think he's a very good striker for the League One level, and I think he'll provide a lot to the team. Otherwise here though, Crawley had 6 players who they listed or were surplus to requirements at some point in the team. So I just signed them to give them more money. We spent 500k on Harry Forster, 650k on Jack Rolls, Mohamedou Fall for 500k, 500k here. I had a little bit of extra money left over, so I signed Ade Adeyemo for 250k, and Dion Conroy leaves for 500k. All of these guys were surplus to requirements or transfer listed. We've been able to bring in some money for Crawley. So the big question is, what did Crawley do with that money? They brought in £2.9 million. We gave them £2.9 million this transfer window. Who did they bring in? That's the question. So let's look at their size. They didn't spend much. They only spent an extra 20k. But let's start from the beginning. So when we started this, they brought in first Ashley Eastham. Oh, he's terrible. He is so bad. That pace of 6. He is not a good signing, Ashley Eastham. Don't like seeing them sign him. But they spent money on Aaron Pierre, who is also not good. Why are they signing slow center backs? Get some people who are more physically capable here. Then Divin Mubama, we can see how much better he is. Hopefully he'll do really well for them. But after that, Jamal Baptiste, again, he's good, but he's so slow. I know they have 3 center backs here, but certainly they want a bit of pace. Amadou Diallo, this guy's a lot better, but he's a winger. The guy doesn't play with wingers. What are these signings from Crawley? He doesn't even, okay, this guy's good. Zayn Monlouis, he is a good player. This is an excellent center back. They brought him in on loan from Arsenal. That's the kind of guy who can keep them in League One. After that, Reagan Riley, he's not a good player. He's also slow, and he's in the ball-winning midfielder role. I don't think Crawley is bringing in good players here. Tom Brewitt, free transfer. This guy's good. This is a guy who could play the center back position, be very good in the center back position. All right, he's okay. Then looking through here, they spend a bit of money on Adam Chickson. He's okay. He's not great, but he's not bad. And their final signing was Martin Kelly. He used to play for Fulham or something? Crystal Palace. Yeah, he used to play for Crystal Palace. And looking at his profile, they're going to be so slow in the back. So looking at their tactics, this is how they look now. So up top is Mubana and this guy, Will Swan. He's not bad. He's okay for this level. I like Will Swan. In the middle, they have Kiterna and Anderson. So Kiterna here, he's pretty good. Okay. I don't think they've signed anyone better than him. And Max Anderson, he is okay as well. In the middle, they have this guy, Bradley Ibrahim. He's on loan from Hertha. He's okay. Looking at, they got that Malone guy, Scott Malone on the left. Again, slow, but a pretty good player. On the right is Kamara. He's pretty good. Actually, I would rather see him playing in the midfield here because he has excellent physical attributes. And then in the back, Baptiste, Kelly, Monlouis, who we saw earlier. And then they have Joe Wallacott. He is a pretty good goalkeeper. So that all being said, it has been a very poor start from Crawley. They lost the first match, advanced in the Carabao Cup first round, but then lost in the second round. Drew Northampton at home, Stockport loss, then lost to Reading, then lost to Birmingham, and I think that's the only goal that David Mubama has scored so far this season. And then looking at Sky Bet League One here, currently in last place with 2 points. All right, we are not off to a good start here. I'm going to sim forward this season. Things aren't looking good. And Crawley have managed to stay in Sky Bet League One. They've avoided relegation by finishing in 19th. Lincoln, I apologize to Tom FM, but Lincoln finish on 51 points. Crawley finish on 52. They've managed to stay in the division by 1 point. And that does mean Scott Lindsay is still in a job, which means we're going with the 5-3-2 again next season. But looking at how they did, we saw them poor start to the season, and they did not get things going really until October. So really 2 months of poor play. But a good October, followed up by a pretty good November. Not really a good... How did they stay... Wow. So they stayed up with this run here. From January to March, an excellent run here. Our question is, did we help them at all? So looking at goals scored here, David Mubama was the top goal scorer for them with just 11 goals. I mean, this is what happens with such a defensive tactic. They're not going to score much, but maybe they need it to stay in the league. But 44 appearances and 10 goals from David Mubama. His goals definitely kept them in the league. They would not have stayed up without him. But a 19th place finish, that keeps us in League One, so that progresses us closer to our goal of getting to the Sky Bet Championship. So I think what we do here is we try to continue doing kind of the same things, but just do it a little bit better. Give them a little bit more money. We're coming in earlier in the transfer window this season, so we'll try to give them more money early. We'll try to get a friendly scheduled with them so they can get a bit of money like that. And then we'll try to give them some more players now. They haven't brought anyone in, so we can give them some more loans, hopefully, which will help to improve the squad. So we are going into season 2 now. I'm going to play through the season 2 preseason. We'll see what we've got. All right, season 2. We've made some big moves here. Also, as a total aside, in case you're wondering how the city part of things are going, we won the league last season, did very well in the Prem. We won the Carabao Cup final, but we got knocked out, or we lost the FA Cup final, and we got knocked out in the Champions League round of 16 at PSG. So we've done enough to keep our job as far as City is concerned. But all right, moving into the transfers. Looking on the City side of things, we've made some big signings for Crawley. We've given them a lot more money this year. So we've made some big signings ourselves, but we've signed 3 players from Crawley. Jeremy Kelly, a player who I don't think is very good. We have signed him for £2.5 million. That gives them about as much money as we gave them last year. And then it turns out I can go up to about £5 million for Crawley's players right now before the transfer board is withdrawn. So we're able to sign Martin Kelly, that older gentleman who used to play for Liverpool and Crystal Palace. He is physically not good anymore. He was on a big wage for them. We got him off their wage bill. So 35 years old, we've signed him for £5 million. And then Adam Chickson, who I think did start for them last season, but again, an aging player. We've brought him in for £5 million as well. So we've given them £12.5 million this transfer window. But that's not all we've done. We've given Crawley 2 players on loan. I'm going to be honest with you guys. This was a very frustrating transfer window. I tried to get so many players to Crawley. Like looking at our dev center here, we have a huge amount of players here. I tried to get Alex Alcala, Max Elaine, Luke Mbetta, Will Dixon, all these guys. I tried to get them to Crawley, but they just weren't bringing in bids for them. I don't know if it's because they weren't interested in the player or if it's because the player wasn't interested in going to Crawley, but I was only to get 2 players on loan to Crawley. First, Jamie Bowden. Jamie Bowden is actually a player I signed in season one, who I didn't actually think would do anything, but I signed a bunch of League One quality level players for City in season one, thinking, maybe down the line I'll be able to get them to Crawley. This is one player who's gone to them. He is going to play those defensive mid positions. Again, they play that three in the back, then like a wing back, and defensive mid. So he can play defensive mid or in those two positions here. I think he's a really good player for them. Excellent physically, decent mentally, and okay technically. I think he'll be one of their best players. He's already made 5 appearances for them, 6.8 overall rating, so not too bad. And then we've given them J. Del Katongo. He was just a player that I could get to them. Physically very good, and he can play pretty much in all those defensive positions that they need. He's a very versatile player. He can play in a lot of positions. Should be good for them. Looking at his history, he's played in 3 of the matches so far, albeit not very well. But all right, moving into Crawley. The only players that they've gotten rid of are those who signed for us. They brought in £12.5 million. What did they do with £12.5 million? Nothing really. They brought in 5K. I really wanted them to bring in more players. Looking at the finances, they're secure now. They really, I believe, could sign more players, but apparently Scott Lindsay doesn't want to bring in more players. He's not spending the money. Scott, mate, you gotta bring in the money. You're judging player ability and potentials here. You got the money now. Feel free to spend it. You need to spend money here if you want to stay in Skybet League One. But looking at who they brought in, first signings were Bowden and Katongo. They brought in Lewis Thomas, goalkeeper, not very good. I'm going to be honest, that Wallacott guy they had last season was better. They brought in Rabi Kundi. Again, for some reason, Scott Lindsay loves his slow center backs. Let's get another guy in with 9 pace. James Hammond. Why are they bringing in this guy? He's not a very good goalkeeper. They've already got a better one. We're wasting our wage here. Ed Turns. He's all right, but they already had Katongo, and he's not great, but at least he's got some pace on him. He's a bit jumping reach isn't very good, but Ed Turns is a decent signing. This guy is really the first guy that I'm wowed about. I think this is a really good signing for Crawley. Excellent physically, excellent mentally, excellent technically. He comes in as immediately one of the best players in the squad. Joe Hugel is kind of their replacement for Divin Mubama. I don't think he's as good as Mubama. I tried to give them Mubama again, but he didn't want to go. But this guy's all right. I mean, he's got good finishing composure off the ball, and he's good jumping reach and pace. I don't know if he's good enough with the lack of support in the formation to do well for them, but hopefully he will. Finally, Talaji Bola. I mean, he's quick, but he's not a great player. And then on transfer deadline day, they finally spent a little bit of money to bring in Oliver Turton, who is okay. They brought him in on a paid loan. I mean, he's also slow, but as far as the other players they brought in, he's not bad. So have those signings helped Crawley to do any better? Well, they won the first match of the season against Fleetwood and subsequently haven't done very well. They haven't had a great season. Oh, by the way, we did play them in a friendly. I forgot to mention that. We gave them a friendly to give them a bit more money. So, after all that, Skybet League One, let's look at the stages. They are in 18th. So, unlike last season, they are not in the relegation zone currently. They have 5 points from 5 matches, which would be enough to keep them up if they continue along that trend. But I'm not confident. I'm going to be honest. I'm not confident. I wish they had done more in the transfer window. But I say all that, and Crawley are projected to finish mid-table, so maybe they're on to something here. Okay, well, maybe I've spoken too soon. Crawley are projected to finish mid-table. If we get them up to mid-table, that's definitely a rebuild. That's definitely, trust the process type vibe. So, Scott Lindsay, Crawley, let's see what you got. Season 2, let's simulate it and see what happens. And we are at the conclusion of Season 2, and our rebuild is failing. Crawley have been relegated in 23rd position. They got 42 points. They were 8 points off staying in League One, and they've done terribly. They have been relegated, and they will be in League Two next season. We'll be trying to do a rebuild from League Two. This is a really difficult challenge, I gotta say. And Scott Lindsay is no longer at the club. There is a job advert, which means we will be working with a new manager next season. But Scott Lindsay's no longer there. I think the 5-3-2 was the downfall, to be honest. The 5-3-2 and the real lack. He's at Stoke now. Wait, Stoke. Stoke are in the Sky Bet Champions. He got fired? Wait, did he get fired or did he just leave? Now I'm curious because I just assumed he got fired. He was Scott Lindsay. Oh, oh, he just left. And then Paul Heckingbottom got fired. Oh man, so Scott Lindsay was actually doing a good job, but he left to go join Stoke. And then Paul Heckingbottom came in, who also likes a 5-3-2, and he's the one who didn't do well. Well, that's interesting. So he left November 1st. So how are Crawley doing prior to November 1st? They actually had a good start. Actually a good start to the season up to this point. But no, well, okay. Scott Lindsay was doing okay, and then wow, yeah, terrible second half of the season. Yeah, I can see how they got relegated. Did they get any money? They made the FA Cup second round, so they won one FA Cup match and they got knocked out in the Carabao Cup. Really poor season. They also did not sign anyone in January, but they got rid of Gavin Holohan. That's a good player to get rid of. And Turner, that's not a good player to get rid of. So a tough season 2 for Crawley here. Well, on another note, it was a good season for City here at least. We won the Prem, we won the Champions League, we were runners-up in the Carabao Cup, we won the Community Shield, and we won the FA Cup. So let's see if we can bring some of this momentum back to Crawley. I'm going to go through to the beginning of Season 3. Crawley have been relegated, but let's see if we can get them promoted again into League One. All right, we are through to the beginning of Season 3. And we'll just go straight to Crawley here. Hassan Suleiman is the new manager of Crawley Town, and I like this guy. He doesn't quite have his good coaching attributes, but good motivating, good people management, good judging player ability and potential. And the thing that I like about him best, he plays a 4-2-3-1. Now that Crawley, and if we go to Sky Bet League 2 here, we go to the season preview, Crawley are supposed to finish second according to the season preview. I like the fact that Suleiman plays a bit more of an attacking formation. That 4-2-3-1 should be better, given they should be one of the better teams in this league. 5 to 6 odds to get promoted here. 5 to 6 odds to win Sky Bet League 2. They should get promoted. And looking at Sky Bet League 2 again, you just need to finish in the top 3 to get automatically promoted. And then 4 through 7 would be in the playoff spots. But all right, moving forward to the city side of things here, we have spent a lot of money this summer. 326 million. A lot of that was 250 million for Vinicius Jr. Great signing there. But we have spent a lot of money on players from Crawley. What I've decided to do here is, if you look at the age profile, 16 years old here, we're trying to rebuild Crawley, and what I realized I could do is they have their senior squad here. All of these guys could play, but they also had an under 21 squad. So I just went in and found the worst players on their under 21 squad, and we spent 10 million on each player. We spent 10 million on 6 players. We gave Crawley 60 million pounds. They're a Sky Bet League 2 team with 60 million pounds. If they can't do it with this amount of money in a division that they're supposed to do well in, I don't know what to do then. But within all that, we were only able to loan out one player to Crawley, and that was Will Dixon, who I think is a great player for this level. Again, looking at his scout report here, he's a good Vanarama national player, so he might be in a little bit of a higher league. But I like Will Dixon. I think he's actually a good player for this level. A good holy trinity here, good dribbling, finishing, first touch, decent composure and off the ball, and decent physical attributes. Looking at it, he's played 5 matches for them and only got 1 goal, but I think he's a good player. And he scored 9 goals in Sky Bet League 2 last season for Notts County. So I think he could do a job for them at the very least. But the big question is, what did Crawley and Mr. Suleiman do with the money we gave them? Again, 61 million here. They also sent they got rid of Joe Wallacott. That is not a good sale. He's such a good player. He's gone to Oxford United on a free. Then they got rid of this guy. He's on loan at Herenveen. Really? That's interesting. But about a million, and they got rid of Ed Turns here. Honestly, those are some good players. I don't know if I like them doing that. Just so you guys can see their finances, they're rich now. We've given them so much money, they're considered to be rich. So they were able to spend some money. Sonny Cox comes in from Exeter. Why did they spend money on this guy? I don't think he's very good. Wasn't worth it. But they've also brought in Sahil Bashir. Again, don't think he's great. Mauro Bandera, this guy is all right. This guy is a good free transfer signing for this level. I like Mauro Bandera. Kyle Edwards, did they just need to bring in wingers because they didn't play with wingers before? He's got good pace on him and good dribbling. Maybe Kyle Edwards could do something. Lewis Richards, this is a good signing. Lewis Richards, 24 years old, very good signing. I like the signing of Lewis Richards. Ross McCrory, now we're talking. Ross McCrory is an excellent signing for this level. Scotland? He was at Dundee. That is an phenomenal signing. 28 years old, still in his prime. Excellent physicals. This is a great all-around player. Very good signing to bring him in. Jordan Hugel, this is a good signing too. A bit slow, but I don't mind a Jordan Hugel. Then we gave them Will Dixon. They brought a lot of players. Josh Tomlinson. Why do they love these slow center backs? Matt Macy. Okay, he's an okay goalkeeper. I don't mind a Matt Macy. Looking at this guy, I'm not going to try to pronounce that name. He's all right. He's okay. They're bringing in squad depth, certainly. Oliver Turton. Dude, stop bringing in these slow... Adam Lewis. There we go. Adam Lewis is a good signing. On loan from Bolton. That's a signing I like to see. And then finally, Paul Griffiths, a new gen in on loan. He is a good center back. All right, they did better towards the end. So looking at their tactics now, Suleiman will have them playing, again, a 4-2-3-1. Dixon does start up top. So Dixon will be their player. And some new signings here. Honestly, and again, this guy was good. Ofabor was good, right? Yeah, he's a good player. I think they can get promoted here. I think they can get back into League One. How did they start? Not a good start with 3-0 loss to Notts County. That's not good. But since then, draw to Wimbledon, and then 3 straight wins on the bounce. Okay, so they've got a bit of momentum now. Currently, they are in 5th place in Skybet League 2, so a good start to the season. Right now, in those playoff positions, I'm going to sim season 3. Let's see how they do. And Crawley have finished in 3rd place, but that is just enough. Crawley are back into League One, and 3 seasons into this rebuild, we're just back to where we started. All right, how did their guys do? So Will Dixon was their top scorer, 17 goals. So we gave them a really good player here. Will Dixon was the guy. 17 goals in the league, 6.82 overall rating. So we gave them their best goals. They didn't score many goals this season. But fortunately, Will Dixon, as part of this rebuild, Will Dixon, crucial that they got him in on loan. I'm noticing here that they spent a bit more money. So they did bring in some players in January. Interesting. So Adam O'Reilly came in January. He's good. He's not great. He's okay. I do think actually they're making but £3.4 million for Dylan Williams. I think maybe they need some better scouts. 3.4 million on this guy. He's good. You know what though? They spent the money they needed to get promoted. Could they do better? I think so. But they spent the money they needed to get promoted, and they brought in Darren Cook on loan. Very good loan. This is an excellent player to bring in on loan. Weirdly enough, I do think Crawley's squad actually might be a little bit better than it was in League One. Like they got relegated down to League Two, but I think they've actually done a little bit better with recruitment, and they seem to have spent a little bit more money. Maybe it's because that that overview. Their finances are rich, but we'll keep going with it. But Hassan Suleiman, this is my guy now. He's got Crawley back into the League One status. We're going to go forward through to the beginning of season 4. All right, 2 more seasons left in this Crawley Town rebuild, and I've done something a little bit different this preseason. I have not scheduled a friendly against Crawley. They don't need the money anymore, and I don't want to beat Crawley really bad and potentially ruin their morale. So no friendly against Crawley this preseason with 2 more seasons left in this rebuild. But once again, we have spent the money. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 60 million has gone to Crawley now. We spent 625 million. I didn't realize how much money we spent. But we have spent 60 million on Crawley's under 21 squad. You can see someone here like John Madison Brunayan, 16 years old. Not very good. He's not helping Crawley in the short term. So, for this 5-season rebuild, we've signed him. And we have sent absolutely nobody to Crawley. You guys, I don't know if you guys can see that or if my face is covering it, but Crawley didn't want any of our players. There was nothing I could do about it. So Crawley and Suleiman are doing this completely off of their own money and scouting. Well, after bringing in that 60 million pounds, what have Crawley been able to do? I actually think they've done okay. They spent about 2 million pounds on Ousmane Kane. Ousmane Kane is good. This is a good player. This is the best player they've signed in the entirety of this save. This is a guy who's worth 2 million pounds. So great job from Crawley there. They've also brought in Aiden Carter, who again, I think is a great player. I've actually had Aiden Carter in a previous save where I was going from the Vanarama National League South up to the Prem. Aiden Carter is excellent. 2 really good signings from Crawley to start off. Then they've brought in Dembele, who's a winger. A player who I actually like a lot. Great physical attributes, good dribbling, okay crossing for this level. After that, they've brought in Koulibaly. Again, a very solid player who can play in the center of the park. Crawley cooked. Suleiman and Crawley have cooked this transfer window. They've brought in Raksaiki, who I think is a solid player. He's not great, but I think he'll be a good squad player for them. They brought in this guy on loan from Leeds. He's okay, but he's got some pace on him, so he could potentially change the game. And finally, they've spent about 1 million pounds in Carter Pingington. This is probably the only dud, I think, of the transfer window, just because of his pace, but he does have good jumping reach. Maybe they could exploit him on set pieces. But honestly, looking at this starting 11, it's not bad. Amadou Diallo starts up top. He's okay. Maybe they could do a little bit better in the striking, but I think Dembele behind him is pretty solid. They have this guy again from Iceland sitting in behind him. He's not too bad. Raksaiki on the left. He's a good all-around player. In the middle, again with Ousmane Kane in the middle, that's the guy who I think they're going to do really well with. And I think they have a really solid back line. Between Aiden Carter, Lewis Nielsen, who I don't actually remember, he's good. Lewis Nielsen is good. They must have got him last season. So Lewis Nielsen, Ross McQuarrie, Dylan Williams, maybe the left back is the only part where they're really struggling. But overall, I think this is actually a really good team. And looking at the season preview, Crawley are the best promoted side. Notts County are in 14th, but compared to them, Crawley projected to finish in 6th. And 6th would be an excellent position to finish in, because looking at the stages, that would put them at least in the playoff spots. It would give them a chance at promotion. But right now, again, looking at Crawley here, schedule-wise, not a bad start to the season. They actually got to the Carabao Cup 3rd round, only losing out to Crystal Palace, a Premiership side. But otherwise, started off with a win, a little bit of a bad patch here, but back to winning ways. And right now, sitting in 8th in Sky Bet League 1. So overall, we have a solid start to season 4. But all right, I actually feel like this rebuild is going somewhere now. I feel like with a new manager, maybe a little bit of a new transfer policy, Crawley are actually doing pretty well. For the first time, I really feel like we're getting some momentum here. Maybe they just needed to get relegated and then get promoted again. But let's simulate season 4 and see what happens. And at the conclusion of season 4, we almost got Crawley into the Sky Bet Championship. They made the playoff final. and lost to Wrexham 2-0. We were so close to back promotions. Looking at the league table, they finished third. Oh, this could have been a great season. They weren't actually close to getting automatically promoted in those top two spots, but a third place finish. I think we've got some serious momentum now. We have one more season left. We've got to get them into the Sky Bet Championship, but Suleiman here, he seems to be doing a good job. Looking at the overall stats, they brought in, yeah, this guy on loan. No, I said he was a squad player. He actually had the best season here. So the new signings here, and Dembele, new signings here doing well, 12 goals each. Amadou Diallo getting 10. So overall, those players doing well. Hayden Carter, new signing, playing in a lot of matches. Ousmane Kane doing really well. So overall, really good season. And again, I mean, looking through here, maybe a tough December. This is maybe the period why they didn't get that automatic promotion. But overall, really good. Did they sign anyone else? They signed one player in the January transfer window, Corey O'Keefe, and he was a good signing too. I'll tell you what, Crawley are doing a lot better with the money we're giving them now, and they can offer bigger wages. I just clocked into that. I didn't even think about that. So looking at general info, wow, they're offering. This is why they're able to sign better players now. We've given them so much money, so they're not spending it in the transfer budget. It's the wages where they're cooking. And you know what? That's fine. We're just going to keep giving them money. This is the key. We will just keep giving Crawley money, and they can sign players with these great wages. All right, one more season left. We're going to throw everything at Crawley here, and we're trying to get them promoted into the Sky Bet Championship. Let's see what we've got for one last preseason. All right, I'm on the Man City side of things here, so you can see it from the Man City perspective. But we have thrown absolutely everything at Crawley here. Looking here, we've signed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have signed 8 players. Some of them we've been able to sign for £15 million. So we've given them a lot of money. I'll show you guys how much at the end. And we've also given Crawley 3 players this season. This is the first time in a while that we've been able to loan Crawley out so many players. But Divin Mubama, who I think has really improved, Divin Mubama goes back to Crawley. So he will be there. And we see the return of Divin Mubama. We've also given them Luke Mbete. Luke Mbete, I think he's just a solid squad player for them. I think he's good, but I think he's a solid central defender squad player for them. And finally, they needed a goalkeeper. This is a guy signed to actually be our backup from Bournemouth for a while. Actually signed him not with the intention of sending him to Crawley, but the opportunity opened up. Colin McKenna, I think, is an excellent, phenomenal goalkeeper. This is the type of player who can get Crawley promoted. But all right, moving towards Crawley. Once again here, you guys can see General, they are rich. And the reason they are rich is because we've given them £105 million. They have been given £105 million. They have so much money now. Now the question is, though, what have they done with it? So we gave them Divin Mubama on loan. After that, they spent some money on Oliver Bainbridge. He's a good backup left back, maybe. Mario Cozier Dewberry, I think this guy's a really good signing. This is an excellent signing on Crawley's part. That's the type of player we want to see them bringing in. Thomas Kempschel, I think he's just like a good young player for them. I think that's why they brought him in. But he's young. He's good. I think they've signed him for the future. Tommy Reed, yeah, we gave them a better goalkeeper after this. After that, Will Jenkins Davies. I think he is a pretty good player. I like the signing of Jenkins Davies. They signed Kamari Doyle. Kamari Doyle is a player that I'm familiar with because he actually came in through the Southampton Academy. So I saw him in my Sutton save at the beginning of FM24. Kamari Doyle is an excellent signing. This is a Sky Bet Championship player playing in League One now. After that, Luke Mbeta, that's a player they brought in. They brought in William Osula on a loan. I think this is a pretty good loan signing as someone who can play in the forward positions. Then they brought in Andy Lyons. He is a Lyons. He's a very good player. They spent some serious cash on him, but that is an excellent signing. And then, of course, if we scroll down here all the way to Callan McKenna. So season preview wise, a good transfer window for Crawley puts them in a good position above some of the relegated teams from the Sky Bet Championship, but projected to finish third, which is where they finished last season. So hopefully, though, we'll be able to get them promoted. I'd love to see them get promoted. But looking at stages here, Crawley in third currently, exactly where they're kind of expected to be, but a good start to the season, 4 wins and 1 loss. Looking at that start, they won in the Carabao Cup first round, lost in the Carabao Cup second round. I'm fine with that. It allows them to focus on the league. An initial loss to Bolton was cancelled out by wins against Swindon, wins against Wimbledon, Portsmouth, and then finally Peterborough. And we're seeing Kamari Doyle doing well, to some of those new signings making an immediate impact. William Osula, who came in on loan as well. But all right, this is it. The final season. Can we get Crawley promoted into the Sky Bet Championship? We're counting on our man here, Hassan Suleiman. This is it. We'll go into the league here. As a reminder, currently in third place. We're going to simulate the final season. Can we complete this rebuild of a club that we're not managing? And Crawley have done it. Finishing in first place, Crawley are promoted, and we've helped them get a league title. This is exactly what we want to see. They nearly bottled it at the end. They got 2 draws and 2 losses in their last 5 matches. But let's look at past positions. Crawley were dominant this season. This is what we wanted earlier. If Scott Lindsay had signed those guys earlier, they would have been fine. But it took Suleiman to do it. First place for most of the season. We got to see the schedule. How did they do? They were brilliant. Oh, wow. So we last saw them here, and they just kept on winning. Lost to Burton there. Nah, they never had a bad patch. This is the type of season we are going for. Maybe a little bit tough at the end. Maybe they already won the league, and then we're just kind of chilling at that point. But a great season from Crawley. Let's look at the overall stats here. Did anyone we give them, did they do well? William Osula did well. David Mubama was their second top goal scorer. New signings Doyle and Cozier Dewberry were doing really well. This is exactly what we want to see. And then what about Callan McKenna? Played 50 matches, 7.05 rating for Callan McKenna. This is exactly who they needed. They had an excellent defense. They needed a good goalkeeper. We gave them a good goalkeeper. Did they bring in? They did bring in some players in January. They actually brought in 4 players in January too. Actually, 5 players. So they brought in Suleiman Ikong. Maybe they just needed. They were just looking towards the future on that one, I think. But they brought in Jose Javier Blanco on loan. He's not bad. Maybe they needed some squad depth there. Donovan Pines on loan. He's good. I like his jumping reach and physical attributes. He's a really good player. Kenneth Paul, they signed for money. Solid player who could play in about every single position on the field. And then Louis Barry. I'll tell you what, Crawley did an excellent job here. And they are doing so well because look at those wages they are paying. There is no way anyone in Sky Bet League 1 should be paying those wages. Well, it took way too long, and it took 1 relegation, but I would say we've kind of successfully rebuilt Crawley here. We've given them loads of money. We gave them some players on loan, and we got them promoted into the Sky Bet Championship. This was a team that at the beginning of season 1 was projected to finish last in in League 1. And we got them to finishing first. It took 5 seasons to do it. It took a relegation and a promotion, but we got them a league title. I do wish we could have seen them. I wish we could have had a season with them in the Sky Bet Championship, but this is what it was. I'm going to be honest with you guys. This was a really hard challenge. This is probably the most difficult challenge we've had so far. It's hard to give a team players unless they're an affiliate club. I think I'm going to try this challenge again at some point and do it with an affiliate club. And that way we can have a little bit more control over their squad composition. This is a very difficult type. Definitely try it on your own. If you got a team with a lot of money, I would highly recommend trying this. But that is everything I've got for this video. I hope you've enjoyed this rebuild of a club that I was not managing. It was a lot of fun. I think we're definitely going to try this again. But until next time, I hope you are doing well. I hope you all are taking care of yourselves. I'll see you all next time. Bye.